I'm Jeffrey Fisher. Yeah, the aloneness is a big part of it because it's never really silent, but it's kind of like just now we were standing in the heat and then we come in the shade and it's like this doesn't feel cold anymore, but right at first, you're like, it's cold. You don't even realize how used to the sounds you are. What the isolation starts to like magnify certain things in nature, where then it's like every little bird sound, or you hear stuff you wouldn't normally hear, or just like the difference of wind moving through willows or moving through junipers or moving through grass, and it's like a big stir. You're like, whoa, what was that? So the sounds are already magnified, and you start to like build a relationship with them because you don't have people to talk to or things like that. So then at night, by the time you're going to sleep, the fire's really got one of the biggest sounds in the river. There's fire in the river have the biggest sounds because it's so constant and ever-changing and layered. Like the fire's just crackling and popping and making the sounds of smoke and wind and going on. And then you got the river gurgling and doing its thing, and the two textures together, the way I was sleeping, was like one ear and the other ear with the fire and the river. So it was just like this magical harmony, this like sacred humdrum going on that was inciting like the craziest dreams. Like my experiences were magnified by the textures of the things going on around me, and like the fire dying down and the river would get like bigger, and then I'd like wake up because the fire's like going out, and then stoke up the fire, and then you're like, the fire's really big. I want to set that up for myself so I sleep with those sounds, because it was almost like psychedelic dreaming. Like the most beautiful thing I saw in my dreams was these blue herons. Herons flew over me. One was white. It was a blue and a white heron, and the white was a female and the blue heron was a male. And they were like playing above me and doing all this crazy stuff, and then they landed up above me on like a branch, or I think it was rock actually, like a rock coming out off the cliffside, and they layered over each other. So like the blue one landed and spread its wings and tail, and it made a full circle, and then it was just like this sacred geometry kind of like circle pattern of feathers that was the blue heron with light, like the sunlight coming through it. And then she landed in front of it and like overlayered it, and then he changed colors, and they like started to like spin like that, and then they like separated and flew out and like started to like make love in the sky above me. It's like, what does this mean? I find myself asking the question more than answering it, for sure. Out there, it seems like everything's trying to tell you something. You don't speak the language well enough, like they're sitting there trying to talk to you like a baby or something. Okay, Geoff, this is what we're telling you, and you're just sitting there going, what the f is this telling me? Going and being alone in nature will definitely illuminate, as well as your own comfort with yourself, or lack thereof. It will illuminate your need for people, or your perceived need. Probably a need. I think people need each other. I don't think we're built to be alone, even though I think we're capable of it. It definitely puts you in a more empathic state, I think, if you spend time out there like that and you come back and you see the craziness for what it is. It stands out the same way I was talking about the sounds standing out. So when you come back, I usually see like just a lot of pain and suffering in people's eyes, and like you feel it really strong. So that empathic ability is definitely increased. So when I first started getting into this stuff, I really had more of that view of like, everyone, they're gonna get themselves killed living this crazy way, and like all I have to do is just live outside of it, or like figure out how to survive on my own. And it's really like fear driven, and it's kind of like the easy road to just give up on people, I guess, when you think that way. And it's a lot more of a difficult road to try to take on, like what needs to change, and be like more like try to create some more hopeful perspective. But then you have a lot more work to do, you know what I mean? You go, well, what is this teaching me? Asking questions of it, not considering things to be so random and unimportant. See that things is happening for a reason, and that there's an importance, and trying to understand what that is. So then when shitty things are happening, you're able to have that same positive perspective of that this is something that we're working through, or this is illuminating something, or I'm learning something from this. As far as connecting to the physical, like, you should look into Ido Portal. He talks about how just being a body, he just has a really beautiful way of describing it. I think there's other people that have been doing the same thing for a long time, but he talks about how the difference, like, yes, we're spiritual, but we're a body, and that's what's special about this experience on Earth and being incarnate is the physical. You know? And I feel like the physical isn't something that's always accessible by our spirits, and so we have this time to experience all these desires and physical experiences and sensations and feelings, and to not take advantage of that, to not use your body, it just is like you're cutting off part of that spiritual experience completely. I stopped doing that for a long time, as far as my communicating or attempting to communicate with nature, with plants and animals and other things and experiences, and like I was saying, asking, you know, what it means or what it's teaching you. Those things for me became a really quiet, like, inward thing for a while, because I was just like thinking like, oh, I don't need the physical, like you don't, you know, you could do it without the physical. And at a certain point it wasn't working as well, I felt like. Doug Simons helped put that into really good words, because he said that it's deliberate, creating a deliberate, like, speaking out loud. When you speak out loud, there's something different about it than thinking your prayers in your head, or thinking those thoughts, those communications with something inside yourself, or putting them outside of yourself, and actually like doing something, offering something, speaking out loud. He was saying it was like being at a party with all your, because you know, all your relations, all the different living things he considers relatives. So you're at a party with all your relatives, and they all communicate, and they all are having conversations and stuff, and you're like this guy at the party that's like kind of like walking up to people and like wants something from you, but like comes up to start a conversation and looks at you, but like doesn't say anything, you know. And he's like, how awkward is that? Like, what would you do? You'd be like, that's weird, and you'd like walk away, or you know. And that having that, like, starting to build that ability to communicate had to do with that deliberate. It's the same feeling as when you start a conversation with somebody, or you're being interviewed and you're like, what I'm saying, I have to like mean what I'm saying and think about what I'm saying, and you know, in order to communicate it, I have to be willing to like step out and make myself vulnerable. And people don't do that. People don't ever make themselves vulnerable. He said that's part of why people don't experience that, what you hear about, that just like paradise of glory that is living in the woods with nothing and being taken care of. They don't like just actually go make themselves vulnerable and not have the things they need. Or like I often would carry a backup lighter. It's like a smart thing to do, you know, when you're learning at first in survival schools. They're telling you like, look, practice your stuff, do your stuff, but like have a little tin in your pack with like, if shit gets really bad, so you don't die, like trying to learn this stuff. But then at the same time, there's like the safety net aspect stops things from being totally deliberate, where you're going like, I'm here to be taken care of you, I'm here to be home, you know, to be just like I'm in my home, and all I have to do is realize that I'm in my home at this party with all my relatives and just start actually talking to people and actually looking around and find the food, figure out where the couch is, and just chill out, you know? And like that changed my experience completely. When I was out there, I'd be sitting there going, like, okay, I really need to do this, I really need to do that. And I'd be like, if this was my home, and I'm just hanging out in my home, like, what would I do? Like, what does my body want to do? And sometimes I'd be like, I'd lay down during a time of day when I'm like, well, this could be a good time to do this or that, but that's like my head telling me what to do, when nature and my body and my physical body, which I'm listening to, are like trying to actually tell me what's really going on. And then you accidentally find some stuff that was what you were going to go look for or something, you know, like that just starts to happen where you're like, oh, you get in the flow and you're like, it's just fine. I love you all.